playing in this tournament, with some national prestige, kind of what does it mean to you to be here?
It means a lot. It's early in the season, and it's good to come out here and really nice weather to play a lot of good baseball.
You guys coming from the Northeast kind of have a little bit of an edge here, trying to prove something here. How do you feel like your team compares to some of the other teams here?
Yeah, I think we're there. I think obviously the games and the repetitions aren't there for us because our first game was on Wednesday, and I think that's the advantage that these teams have on us. But I think once we get our feet under us and we play a lot of baseball, we can compete with anybody.
The group as a whole, I mean, yourself, a guy like Nick Storrs, Winseg, Prado. How do you feel about this group as a whole? Do you think this is a special team for you guys this year?
Yes, definitely. It's a very special team, and expect to win a lot of big games.
You personally, if somebody said, "Hey, what's this guy Daniel Bakst? What's the scouting report on this guy?" What would you say?
Definitely, swing the bat a little bit, and can field. And last year, I think my biggest weakness was my base running, and just the angles and just my running technique on the base paths was the biggest thing that I needed to work on. So I think if you have scouting report, that's what it's going to say.
Committed to Stanford. Could you kind of just walk us through that process, what that was like, the dialogue, and maybe some other schools you considered, and how you ultimately came to the decision to commit to?
Yeah, it was fairly early in the process. Since I was little, I always wanted to go to Stanford. So once I got in contact with the coaches, they were tremendous. They really were what I was looking for in a college. And from then on, I visited a couple times, and it was a pretty easy decision.
Obviously a very prestigious academic institution. Do you have any particular academic interests you're leaning towards?
Right now, no. I'm just focused on baseball, playing baseball there. Hopefully that changes when I get down there.
Defensively, playing a little bit of shortstop this summer, second base, third. Kind of where do you see yourself long term?
I see myself as a shortstop, but it's great to get in a lot of positions. I even played first base for Team USA, and if you can play all of the positions on the field, it's a good thing.
Do you think you could carve out a role as kind of a utility defender?
Yeah. I pride myself on being able to play all the positions. So if that's what it's called, being a utility defender, then it's good.
You mentioned the progression of your base running. What are some other aspects of your game that you're looking to improve on?
I'm looking to improve on all aspects of my game, offensively and defensively. And, whether it's power or, throwing on the run from my backhand in the hole, it's, I'm working on everything and not just trying to focus on one thing and leaving out another. It's, it's a process, and every day I'm working on something new to get everything 1% better.
You're kind of known as one of the better power right-handed bats in this year's class. Kind of what's your approach offensively when you step into the plate? What are you looking to do?
I'm not thinking. I'm not trying to do anything, but just see the ball and hit the ball. I work really, really hard in the cage to perfect my swing, perfect my approach. And once I get into the game, I'm just clearing my mind and really just focusing on hitting the ball hard.
You say focusing, clearing your mind. Does that same idea apply to the concept of having all these scouts out here, kind of bearing down, watching you? Do you feel pressure, or do you kind of just clear that out of your mind?
It's an adjustment. It's weird. When you have a lot of professional teams coming to see your high school games, it's different in the summer. But the same thing applies. I'm trying to block that out. It's they're watching the game. They're not on the field. The only thing that matters is what's going on the field. So I try to just focus on that and try to keep everything else out of my head.
What are some goals you have going forward and in the long term for your career?
I try not to go too far ahead. Of course I want to play in the major leagues as soon as I can, but just to get better every day is really my biggest goal. Outside of that, it's not much I can control.
Excellent. Thanks,
Thank
Dan.
you.
Appreciate
Thank you so
it.
much.